I'm 94 years old and I don't follow a diet. I don't count calories. I don't read labels. But there is one thing I still eat almost every single day. And if you saw it, you'd probably think that's it. It's not expensive. It's not trendy. No one on television is talking about it. It's just a pot of bean and vegetable soup. Now here's the part that usually surprises people. I didn't start eating this because it was healthy. I didn't read about it. No doctor told me to do it. I actually used to hate it. Back when I was a kid, that pot sat on the stove more days than I liked. Beans, carrots, celery, the same thing over and over. I remember thinking when I grow up, I'm never eating like this again. And for a long time, I didn't. Back then, I thought real food was supposed to look very different. I remember standing in front of the stove as a kid wishing dinner looked like something I saw on TV instead. Back then, I thought a real meal meant variety, something different every night, something quick, easy, and a little more exciting than a pot that lasted 3 days. And when I got older, I finally got exactly what I wanted. I got busy. I got a job at a school library. I got married. I had kids. And somewhere in between all of that, food stopped being something you sit down for and turned into something you just handle. A frozen dinner here, a can of something there, a sandwich eaten standing over the sink because you didn't feel like sitting down. At the time, it felt like progress. You don't have to plan. You don't have to cook for hours. You don't have to eat the same thing again tomorrow. Everything is faster, easier, more convenient. And if you looked around, everyone else was doing the same thing. So I didn't question it. But I started noticing little things. Around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, I'd feel tired in a way that didn't make sense. Not sleepy, just worn out. I'd eat something, but it didn't really fix it. So I'd grab something else, then something else after that. I wasn't overeating. I just never felt settled. By the time I was in my 70s, small things started getting harder. Getting up from a low chair took a little more effort. Opening a jar wasn't as easy as it used to be. Walking down the driveway to get the mail felt longer than it should. I told myself what everyone says. That's just age. And I believed it because I didn't see anything else that could be causing it. It all felt normal right up until my house got quiet in a way I wasn't ready for. I stopped cooking without really deciding to stop. At first, it just felt unnecessary. Cooking, for one, doesn't feel the same. You stand there, make something simple, and then sit down across from an empty chair. After a while, you start asking yourself why you're even bothering. So I didn't. Mornings turned into coffee and maybe a couple of cookies. Lunch became whatever was easy. Crackers, a piece of toast, sometimes nothing at all if I didn't feel like it. I'd open the refrigerator, look inside, and close it again like it might answer me the second time. There was no routine anymore, no real meals, just picking at things when I remembered. And I didn't think much of it because nothing dramatic happened. I wasn't sick, I wasn't in pain, I just felt off. Like something in my day didn't line up anymore. Then one afternoon, I dropped the TV remote on the floor. That doesn't sound like much, but when I went to pick it up, I hesitated. Not because I couldn't bend down, but because I wasn't sure I could get back up as easily as before. So I stood there for a second looking at it. And that was the moment that bothered me. Not the remote, not the bending. It was realizing that my body had gotten weaker without me noticing when it started. I hadn't fallen. I hadn't hurt myself. But something had changed, and it wasn't sudden. It had been happening slowly in the background while I wasn't paying attention. And for the first time, I had to ask myself a question I didn't like. Maybe it wasn't just my age. Maybe it was how I had been living every day without thinking about it. I stood there a little longer than I needed to, then finally bent down and picked up the remote. It wasn't dramatic. I didn't fall. I didn't hurt myself. But something about that moment stayed with me the rest of the day. It was the first time I felt unsure inside my own house. Later that week, I was in the kitchen again, opening and closing the refrigerator, like I had been doing for months, when a sentence came back to me. When you don't know what to eat, start a pot. My mother used to say that like it was obvious. I didn't follow it right away. Old habits don't leave just because you remember something better. I still went back to easy meals, a frozen tray, a quick sandwich, something I didn't have to think about. And every time it felt the same, not terrible, just empty, like it didn't really count as a meal. After a couple of weeks of that, I got tired of guessing. So one Sunday, I took a pot out of the cabinet and set it on the stove. I didn't overthink it. I used what I had, a bag of beans, a few carrots, celery, an onion. Nothing special, just enough to fill the pot. It smelled the same as it used to when I was a kid, which I didn't expect to notice. These days I live alone in a small house in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Nothing fancy. I still cook for myself. I still stand at the same kitchen counter every morning. Some days I move slower than I used to, but I get around just fine. Most weeks I make one big pot on Sunday. Nothing complicated. I don't measure much. I just put in what I have, and then I eat it again the next day, and the day after that. Not because I'm trying to be healthy, because I got tired of doing it the other way. I ate a bowl for lunch. The next day I heated it up again. Same thing the day after. It wasn't exciting. That's the point. I didn't have to decide what to eat. I didn't stand in front of the fridge wondering. It was already there. And after a couple of weeks, I noticed something small but steady. I wasn't reaching for snacks as much. The afternoons felt a little more even. My body didn't feel as unpredictable. Nothing dramatic changed. I just stopped starting from zero every day. I still make that same pot most Sundays, not because I have to, but because it makes the rest of the week simpler. When I look back now, I don't think the problem was that I didn't know what to eat. I think the problem was that nothing in my day felt steady anymore. Every meal was a decision. Every decision took a little energy. And over time, that adds up more than people realize. The soup didn't fix my life. It just gave my day a place to start. And once I had that, other things got easier. I moved a little more. I ate at the same time most days. I didn't feel like I was catching up with myself all the time. At my age, I've noticed something about the people who are still doing all right. It's not that they found something special. It's that they kept a few simple things going long enough for their body to trust it. If I had to say it in plain terms, I'd say this. Don't let your eating turn into guessing. Don't replace real meals with snacks all day. And keep at least one thing in your life simple enough that you can come back to it without thinking. A lot of what we call answers now sound a lot like things our parents already told us. If you enjoy stories like this, stories about life advice, stories about advice from grandparents, stories about life lessons, go ahead and subscribe. This is where we keep those kinds of conversations going, one real story at a time.